Hello everyone. I'm Hana, and welcome back to Hana's Japan Radio. Oh my gosh, okay, I am so excited for today's episode. Genuinely, I've been wanting to talk about this topic for so long, and I kept pushing it back because I wanted to do it justice, you know? I wanted to really sit with it and think about all my memories and all the things I love about it. So today we are talking about Ikebana, the Japanese art of flower arranging. Now wait, before you think, Hana, that's just putting flowers in a vase, I need you to stop right there. Haha, okay, so, Ikebana is so much more than that. So much more. And by the end of this episode, I really hope you feel it too. Feel it in your chest a little bit. Because that's what Ikebana does to me every single time. Let me start from the beginning. The word Ikebana, let's just sit with that for a second. It comes from two Japanese words. Ikaru, which means to keep alive, or to arrange. And Hana, which means flowers. Oh, and yes, that is also my name. Haha. So technically I am a living, breathing, talking flower arrangement. You're welcome, world. But seriously, keeping flowers alive. Isn't that such a beautiful way to think about it? It's not just decoration. It's life. You are working with living things and you are giving them a kind of second life, a new story, inside an arrangement. Ikebana has been around for a very, very long time. We're talking about 600 years, at least. The origins go back to Buddhist flower offerings, when Buddhist monks would arrange flowers at altars as a form of prayer and devotion. You would offer the most beautiful things from nature to honor the Buddha. And over time, this practice evolved. It moved out of temples and into the homes of aristocrats, into tea ceremony culture, into everyday Japanese life. And now, hundreds of years later, there are millions of people around the world who practice Ikebana. Can you believe that? Millions. There are actually many different schools of Ikebana, we call them Ryua, and each one has its own philosophy, its own rules, its own aesthetic. The oldest and most classical school is called Ikenabo, and it was founded by Buddhist monks near a pond in Kyoto. Yes, Kyoto. My city. I always feel this little flutter of pride when I say that. Ikenabo arrangements tend to be very structured, very refined, and they follow strict geometric principles. There's another well-known school called Sojetsu, which is more modern and free-spirited. It encourages creativity and personal expression, and you can even use non-plant materials like metal or glass. And then there's Ohara School, which is known for arrangements that look very natural and landscape-like, almost like you're looking at a tiny garden or a scene from nature. But across all these different schools, there are some ideas that they all share. And this is the part one finds so deeply, deeply beautiful. Okay, so, in Western flower arranging, the goal is often fullness, right? Abundance. Color everywhere, lots of petals, a big lush bouquet. Which is gorgeous, I love that too. But Ikebana is almost the opposite philosophy. In Ikebana, empty space is just as important as the flowers themselves. We call this concept ma, and ma is this idea of meaningful empty space, of silence, of pause. The space between things is not nothing. It is something. It holds the whole arrangement together. When I try to explain ma to people who haven't grown up with Japanese aesthetics, I always say, think about music. What makes music beautiful is not just the notes. It's the silence between the notes. The rests. The pauses. Without those, it's just noise, right? Ikebana is the same. You place one branch here, one bloom there, and the space between them breathes. The whole thing breathes. And the materials. Oh, this is my favorite part. Ikebana doesn't just use flowers. That's something a lot of people don't know. You use branches, grasses, leaves, berries, dried stems, bamboo, moss, anything from nature. And often, less is more. A single curving branch and 2 flowers can be more powerful than 50 roses. The arrangement tells a story about nature, about the season, about impermanence. In Japanese culture, we have this concept called mono no aware, the bittersweet awareness that all things are temporary. Cherry blossoms are the most famous example, right? We love them partly because they fall. They are most beautiful at the moment they are about to be gone. Ikebana captures that feeling. You might use a slightly wilted stem, a leaf with a hole in it, a branch that curves in an unexpected way. Imperfection is not hidden. It is celebrated. Okay, I have to tell you about my first real memory of Ikebana, because it makes me so soft every time I think about it. I was maybe 7 years old, and my Obeiken, my grandmother, she lived in a traditional machiya, a townhouse, in a quiet part of Kyoto. And her house always smelled like tatami and green tea and sometimes incense. In the entryway, the genkan, she always had a small Ikebana arrangement. Always. No matter the season. In spring, maybe a few sprigs of cherry blossom. In autumn, a branch of red maple leaves with a single chrysanthemum. In winter, a bare plum branch, just barely budding, in a dark ceramic vase. I remember standing there as a little kid, looking up at it, and there was something about it that made me feel quiet inside. Like the house itself was breathing slowly and calmly. I asked her once, Obeiken, why do you always put flowers here? And she said, and I love this, she said, because it tells anyone who enters that someone thoughtful lives here. She wasn't showing off. She was communicating care. Warmth. She was saying, I noticed the season. I noticed beauty. I want to share it with you. I think about that every single time I buy flowers now. Now, let me tell you something really interesting about the practice itself, the actual sitting down and arranging. One of the things that students of Ikebana talk about a lot is how meditative it is. You have to slow down. You cannot rush Ikebana. You have to really look at each stem, each leaf, each angle. You turn the branch slowly, you observe which side is most beautiful, you think about where it wants to go. Some teachers say that Ikebana teaches you to truly see nature, maybe for the first time. Because we walk past plants and flowers every day and we don't really look, you know? We don't see the exact way the light catches a petal, or the particular arc of a willow branch. Ikebana forces you to look. To pay attention. I actually tried to take a beginner Ikebana class when I was in high school. My mom signed me up because she thought it would be a good skill, very elegant, very proper, haha, and I remember my teacher. She was this small, quiet woman with very elegant hands and she moved so slowly and deliberately. And I, being 17 and full of energy, was like, okay, let's go, let's put the flowers in, let's make something pretty. And she kept gently stopping me. Hana-chan, look at this stem first. Really look. Where does it want to go? And I remember being a little frustrated at first, honestly. I was like, it's a stem, it doesn't want to go anywhere. But then something clicked, maybe in the 3rd or 4th lesson. I was holding this curved branch, I think it was a quince branch, beautiful dark wood with these tiny white blossoms, and I just saw it. Like really saw it. The way it twisted. The story it was telling with its shape. And I placed it in the kenzen, that's the little spiked frog at the bottom of the vase that holds everything in place, and it just felt right. And my teacher smiled and nodded and said nothing. And that silence felt like the biggest compliment. I wonder if flower arranging or working with nature is something you do in your country too. Like, I know in some European countries there is a tradition of flower arrangement, and of course in China there are similar ancient practices. It makes me happy to think that humans everywhere, across all cultures, have always felt this need to take something beautiful from nature and bring it inside, give it a special place, honor it. One more thing I want to share before I wrap up today's episode. There is a concept in Ikebana called the three main lines of an arrangement. In many classical schools, the arrangement is built around three main elements, traditionally representing heaven, earth, and humanity. In Japanese, shin, so, and heiki. The tallest line reaches upward, toward heaven. The middle line grounds the arrangement, like the earth. And the shortest element represents humanity, us, in between, connected to both. And when I learned this, I got actual goosebumps. Because a simple vase of flowers is actually a philosophy. It's a whole vision of the universe, of our place in it, expressed in stems and leaves and blooms. How extraordinary is that? How quietly, humbly extraordinary. Ikebana is not a grand thing. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand your attention. It sits quietly in the corner of a room, in the entryway of a home, and it whispers, "Look, there is beauty here. The season is passing." Someone cared enough to notice. And I think in a world that moves so fast, that whisper is so important. So necessary. If you ever get the chance to try an Ikebana class, even once, even just a beginner workshop, please do it. You don't need to be artistic. You don't need to know anything about flowers. You just need to be willing to slow down and look. That's all. That's really all it takes. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, everyone. Honestly, talking about Ikebana, thinking about my Obacon's Genkan and those quiet lessons in high school. I feel all warm and nostalgic right now. You did that to me. Laugh softly. I hope you go outside today and really look at something growing. A flower, a weed, a tree branch. Give it a moment of your attention. I think it'll give you something back. I'm Hana, and I'll see you in the next episode. Marani, see you soon. Take care of yourselves, okay? Bye bye.